Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video, and continuing on with the Disney Christmas in July thing, yes, where I review a batch of Disney TV animated episodes that are Christmassy, and because of Christmas in July. You know the drill. So, yes. So, as I teased in the last review video, well, and it was obvious because I mentioned the name and yeah, so that's right. A Christmassy episode that comes straight from one of, if not one of the top Disney TV animated gems of the early 2000s, right there next to, say, Phineas and Ferb and Lilo and Stitch. I'd say it'd probably be there too, right? But yes, Kim Possible, baby, yes. So, the Christmassy episode of Kim Possible, which being from Season 2, Episode 16, A Very Possible Christmas. Yes, A Very Possible Christmas. Yeah. Well, first off, because the first things I have to say about the show itself, Kim Possible, well, as I stated yeah, Kim Possible, I watched a good chunk of it. Back in the good old days of Disney Channel. I watched a good chunk of episodes. I enjoyed it. I do remember watching a little bit of, say, one of the first of the two animated Kim Possible films on Disney Channel. Yeah. The first one. So, and of course, I have a few favorite episodes, the ones I remember most prominently. And, I experienced playing the Kim Possible game at Epcot. You know what I'm talking about. And of course, with the live-action Kim Possible remake film, well, say what you will, but I didn't think it was that bad. And I'm pretty sure that this Kim Possible episode, this being the only Christmassy episode that Kim Possible had, A Very Possible Christmas, I think maybe it probably was one of those episodes I did watch, yeah. Because I'm pretty sure I did see this on TV, but yeah. And having done a rewatch, technically, and because I'm now reviewing it, yeah, I gotta say, A Very Possible Christmas is another really good Disney TV animated episode that's all Christmassy, and what happens in the world of Kim Possible, what goes on with Kim, her family, and Ron, on Christmas Eve, and of course Dr. Draken and Shigo being in this. Of course you have to have those two, and seeing as how, yeah, because having them be the main antagonists for Kim Possible's only Christmas episode. And, especially because, yeah, some things that happen in this episode, especially, most prominently, the fact that Ron tries to do this on his own, take on Draken, and to not have Kim miss out spending Christmas time with her family because of what her and her family do on Christmas Eve. Yeah. And, because that was a sweet thing for Ron, trying to, do this on his own, and, and just, wanting to keep Kim in a happy spot. For once, with not going out and doing a lot of action, taking on Dr. Draken or whoever else in this show besides Draken, it's understandable. And good on Ron's part. Yeah. And this episode delivers quite a good story. The funny moments, references like a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer reference, which I'll get to momentarily. And the fact that the ending of this episode was pretty good. All of the characters coming together, having Christmas. It's Christmas, for crying out loud. Just, yeah. But yeah, just overall, the Kim Possible Christmas episode from Season 2, Episode 16, A Very Possible Christmas, is really good. Definitely. Okay, so, with the first things I have had to say about the Christmassy episode of Kim Possible itself now out of the way, now as always for me, read the description / the story. Kim and her family, including Ron, and also, yeah, Rufus, can't leave Rufus out, decide to bury their differences for the festive season, but only after the usual battles and confrontations. Yeah, and obviously, because that goes for Dr. Draken. Okay, so, with reading the description / the story now out of the way, let's dive in and break down this episode itself. Yep. So, yeah, so with Kim and her family celebrating Christmas and getting started, celebrating Christmas on Christmas Eve, and the whole family's there. Kim herself, Christy Carlson Romano, and Dr. James Timothy Possible, good old Gary Cole, yep, and Dr. Ann Possible, the mother, Jean Smart, yeah, I think I'm saying her first name right, and also Tim and Jim Possible, the two twin brothers of Kim, being voiced by young Sean Fleming, and Nana Possible being voiced by the late Debbie Reynolds. Yeah. So all of them together celebrating Christmas. They've lit up their entire house, and Ron and Rufus showing up to spend Christmas with them. And Ron, of course, being voiced by Will Friedle, if I said his last name right. Again, you know me sometimes. And of course, Rufus, Bart Simpson herself, Nancy Cartwright. So them coming over to celebrate Christmas, spend Christmas time with Kim and her family. And, yeah. And even, say, one thing that Ron especially loves doing is turning on the TV and Hank the Snowman coming on TV. And for many years, Hank the Snowman has always been on TV around Christmas time. And like I said earlier, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, this is an obvious Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer reference because of Sam the Snowman. So yeah, Hank, Sam, yeah, you get it. However, out of nowhere, this Christmas, Hank the Snowman is apparently no more. Enter this random, new Christmas thing called Extreme Christmas, with snow ski jets and stuff like that. Just, yeah. Ron does not like this, but for Tim and Jim, they like it. They already get a good kick out of it. But, yeah, so poor Ron, this is not what he expected. However, Kim tries to cheer up Ron some by giving him a Christmas present. Happy Hanukkah, she says to Ron. And it's basically, it's basically a DVD disc, inserting in the computer or something, and it's basically a slideshow of photos of Kim and Ron. But then at one point, and after Kim leaves the room, and to give Ron some time to, shake things off, well, Kim's communication device rings in, and Wade Load, of course being voiced by Taj Mowry, if I'm getting his full name right, calling in, and yeah, Ron taking the call, and basically, yeah, because, first off, Wade, obviously wishing both of them a Merry Christmas, and even Wade is dressed up as Santa Claus, and, he says to Ron that he was sorry about Hank Christmas, so I assume, yeah, because, obviously Wade must like some of Hank Snowman. But then at one point, all of it is interrupted when, yeah, Wade gets a notification, an alert notification that, yeah, Dr. Draken and Shigo are doing something evil this time. Shigo has stolen a battery and, getting it for Draken, and Draken's going to charge up his Dark Force 1 ship. Basically, to put it this, Draken is going to start a new Ice Age and make it a blue Christmas. Yeah. And Ron, well, he decides that he will do this himself, and along with Rufus tagging along, taking on Draken and not have Kim, do this and such, because again, and as I said earlier, Ron wanting to keep Kim in a happy position, to spend time with her family on Christmas Eve. So yeah, it's totally understandable. And like I said earlier too, where, for once, Kim not doing a lot of missions and action and such, kicking butt, just for once, especially on Christmas Eve. Yeah, it's understandable. So, and again, it's very sweet and charming of Ron to do this. And technically, and according to Wade later on, it's like Ron's very own, secret Santa. Yeah. So Ron, making his way to Draken's evil location, he got a lift from Captain Lewis, and, it's the least that he can do for Ron and Kim, although Captain Lewis remembers an incident that involved Ron, but Ron trying to find a way to say that, it was a different Ron and not him. That was pretty funny. And Captain Lewis being voiced by John DiMaggio, and of course, John DiMaggio, the voice of Dr. Draken. And of course, also, Shigo, Nicole Sullivan. Yep. And after Shigo picked up the battery for Draken, well, it's vacation time for Shigo. Getting the sunblock, and yeah, on Christmas Eve, she's gonna spend some time on an island, on a beach, and leaving Draken to do his evil business for what he's gonna do on Christmas Eve. But luckily for Ron, he manages to show up on time before Draken can proceed on what he's going to do. Ron trying to take on Draken and by, taking out the battery, but yeah. Unfortunately, Draken managing to proceed on activating his Dark Force 1 ship, and yeah, it launches. And yeah, a moment where Ron pushes the button for it to land, but Draken pressing the button for it to take off, and then just going back and forth pressing the buttons, and the Dark Force 1 computer being voiced by Corey Burton. And it's pretty funny because, on, off, on, make up your mind. It's pretty funny sometimes when computers, like on ships, whatever, just certain moments where they would have a funny line, just, it's funny. And coming back to Kim and her family, because, well, Kim thinks that probably Ron and Rufus, they went back home, not even saying goodbye. But little does Kim know what Ron is actually doing. But yeah, and coming back to Ron and Draken, because because Ron, wrestling around with Draken on the ship, and, well, they're rolling around all these buttons, even when they activate all the escape pods, and worst of all, activate the self-destruct button. And yeah, and what the heck are they gonna do? And there's even one moment where one of them pressed a button that summoned Draken's toothpaste and teddy bear bedtime and such. Yeah, but yeah. So with the self-destruct button going off and such, yeah, and with all the escape pods, released, what the heck are they going to do? They're screwed by this point. Well, that's when Draken realizes that there is one escape pod left, and that being for the garbage. And yeah, that'll do, according to Ron. So them getting on the escape pod and making their way out of the Dark Force 1 ship, and yeah, they crash land in the North Pole. And after all that, well, because, yeah, they still bicker and fight with one another, even when they're trying to find something to eat. A piece of chicken from the garbage, and, well, Draken threw it out, but no, Draken wants a taste of it, yeah. And even Draken, he tried to call up Shigo, but Shigo, being too busy enjoying and having a great time on vacation, and she just, ignores Draken's phone call, and it goes to voicemail. And coming back to Kim and her family, because, yeah, by this point, Dr. James Timothy Possible is reading a story about Captain Zinn Possible having stolen a Christmas tree or something during the era and time of George Washington. That's pretty interesting. And who'd have thought that a family member of the Possibles technically knew George Washington? Anyways, but then at one point, a delivery man showing up, actually being voiced by Corey Burton. How did I not recognize that was Corey's voice? I don't know, it's just one of those things. But point being is that the delivery guy showing up, giving Kim, basically it's another communication device. And, well, yeah, Wade calling in and informing Kim on what all's been going on. That Ron basically went to go stop and confront Draken, and Wade explaining to Kim that Ron wanted to have Kim remain, at the house, spending Christmas time with her family, and yeah. But Kim, well, obviously she's very, happy about that, and because of, what Ron did, but, By this point, yeah, Ron definitely needs Kim's help. So Kim is going to make her way to find Ron, and unbeknownst to Wade and Kim, because, well, Wade discovered that all the escape pods from the Dark Force 1 ship of Drakken's were all, unleashed, and they landed in different parts of the world. One in London, one in the desert, one in the Amazon, so Kim has to go to every single escape pod to find Ron, and if he's in one of them. And it's kind of baffling that Wade did not detect the last remaining escape pod for the garbage. But I guess, I don't know, his systems didn't detect it? That's my guess. Okay, anyways, and to speed things up some, because coming back to Ron and Drakken, because, still... both of them, including Rufus, still stranded out in the North Pole, but eventually they do manage to patch things up and manage to get along for once, especially with the mentioning of Hank Snowman. Even when, at one point, they were being attacked and chased by a polar bear. But with the mentioning of Hank Snowman, that's when they start to connect. And unbeknownst to Drakken, he had no idea that this Christmas they were not going to show Hank Snowman. But and together they will keep the memory of Hank Snowman alive. So them working together and getting through this mess in the North Pole, and hopefully if either Kim or Shigo will make it in time. And eventually Shigo did respond to Drakken's voicemail that he left, because Shigo discovering that her vacation, all of this, was paid by Drakken. After all that Shigo did, and there was a note that was left for Shigo, she found it very sweet and delightful. By the way, to name some of the other voice cast members, because because John DiMaggio voiced that one narrator during Shigo's vacation. Also, Corey Burton voicing Bobby. And also, Ed Hall voicing the TV announcer. And, one more that I'll get to in just a moment, because, coming back to Kim, because, her going to each of the different escape pods, no sign of Ron, even when at one point she gets a lift, from Mr. I'm probably going to butcher his name some, Nakazumi. Maybe I got his name close, but because Mr. Nakazumi, I think I got that right now, him being he's the president of the Nakazumi Toys Corporation, and, he's a repeat client of Team Possible, and, he helps out Kim, catch a ride in the sky and to get to where she needs to go to, so, so that's nice on him, and even, his translator, Yoshiko, being voiced by Lauren Tom, translating for Kim what he's saying and such, it's the least he can do for Kim, and so on, And so, her going to London, to the desert, to the ocean, and then when she makes her way to Amazon, all the escape pods that she goes to, no sign of Ron whatsoever. And even, say, her family, they actually did show up at Amazon, because at one point Kim gets in a tussle with an anaconda in Amazon. But luckily, Tim, Jim, and her parents show up to take on the anaconda, while Kim goes into the escape pod, where actually it's beeping. The escape pod is beeping, but when she makes her way up to the escape pod, turns out it's a monkey eating a banana that's pressing the red button. And unfortunately, after, searching for all of the escape pods, no sign of Ron. And actually, there's a quick moment where Kim actually breaks down. She actually is tearing up. It really shows, because the love she has for Ron, deep down. Even eventually when they would express their true feelings for one another, right? And they make a great couple. Anyways, but then it's discovered that, they've made their way to the North Pole. And actually, because Tim and Jim, they borrowed Kim's communication device to watch TV, The Extreme Christmas, and they discovered that Shigo has made her way to the North Pole, and yeah, from there on, because that's when they discovered that, yeah, Draken and Ron, most notably, are at the North Pole, as well as Rufus. Can't leave off Rufus. So yeah, so all of them making their way to the North Pole, and actually Shigo is in the middle of Extreme Christmas. She takes a snow sleigh, you know, skier, you know what I mean, and just, yeah, trying to find Draken, and eventually, yeah, because then, like, say, Kim and Shigo would cross paths, but yeah, by the time they make their way to where Ron and Draken are, and they made a giant Hank snowman, and yeah, Ron and Rufus are happy to see Kim, and then Shigo stepping in, they're about to fight, but Draken breaking up the fight, and for once, and because it's Christmas Eve, Draken bringing all of them inside the garbage escape pod, basically. And actually, Draken and Ron, they've made it nice and cozy. A fireplace and, yeah, some Christmas decorations. All of them coming together, even the entire possible family. You know, for once, they all get together, and because it's Christmas Eve, that's great to see. Even in one moment where there's mistletoe, Kim kissing Ron on the cheek, yeah. And all of them coming together, singing a song, which is basically a song from Hank the Snowman, and yeah, the episode ending off where they're all singing together, they're with Hank the Snowman and all the various characters with Hank the Snowman. It was a very satisfying way to end off the episode, definitely. Because, again, all of them getting along, and when Christmas is over and after New Year's, the truce is over. They go back to being enemies. Well, yeah. But yeah, just overall, the way the episode ends is really good. Very delightful, and because, hey, it's Christmas. But yeah, a very possible Christmas from Season 2 of Kim Possible, Episode 16. Yeah, it's really good. Episode 16 of Season 2 of Kim Possible. Everything about this Christmassy episode of Kim Possibles, what it had to offer from beginning to end, the story, what goes on with the characters, and at the end, all of them get together. It's great to see. All the things that are happening throughout this episode, the references, and, you know, most notably, you know, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, you know, Ron trying to do something, taking Kim's place for now so she can enjoy Christmas time, just, yeah. Just overall, everything about a very possible Christmas. It's really good. A very cute, delightful, entertaining, Christmassy episode that comes straight from Kim Possible. Definitely. And also, a quick mentioning of this, because even when I watched it on Disney+, because, you know, it's either referred to as episode 15 or 16 of Season 2 of Kim Possible. What's up with that sometimes? I don't know, but just, not gonna let that bother me. So, a very possible Christmas. I'm giving a very possible Christmas, yeah, why not, 10 out of 10 stars. Yes, 10 out of 10 stars for episode 15 or 16, whatever, of Season 2 of Kim Possible, A Very Possible Christmas. Yeah, 10 out of 10 stars, yeah. And what about you guys? What did you think of the Season 2 episode of Kim Possible itself, A Very Possible Christmas? Do you remember watching this on TV? And, you know, when it first aired? Is it one of your, you know, favorite episodes from Kim Possible, the show itself, Season 2? Is it one of your favorite Disney TV episodes that are Christmassy? What are some of your favorite parts / moments from this episode? And, yeah, did you get some good laughs and such? And just, you know, found this very delightful with all that happens in this episode. But just, yeah, overall, what do you think of A Very Possible Christmas itself, with what I've had to say, my review, and yeah, what did you think of my review? Leave comments and give this review video a like, as always. And so, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of the Season 2 episode of Kim Possible, A Very Possible Christmas. More review videos are coming your way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I will see you guys in the next video / review. And, well, continuing on, reviewing more Disney TV animated episodes that are Christmassy because of, Christmas in July, Disney Christmas in July, Only 2 left. So the second to last Disney TV animated episode that I'll be reviewing that's Christmassy, well, to best describe it, let's just say it has to do with Brandy and Mr. Whiskers. Yeah, that's the best I can describe because, yeah, but and as I mentioned their names. But yeah, again, stay tuned for that. Take care, and peace out. So what's the sitch?